Matthew chapter 11 and verse 28 says, Jesus starts out, this is Jesus speaking. He says, "Come to me, all who labor." Now, I'm going to stop here because the setting matters. So this setting is Jesus is teaching. He is in the desert. It's no doubt hot. It is no doubt to those that are with him. There's probably a large crowd that's following him. They are no doubt miserable from the heat, maybe hungry, sunburn. I can imagine it's dusty. If they're anything like me, your allergies are going nuts, but maybe they're used to that. I don't know. But they're exhausted from following Jesus here. And Jesus comes and pops off with this setting of Scripture. He says, "Come to me, all who labor." And these people's exhaustion isn't just a physical exhaustion. These people's exhaustion, this word labor here, it means to work until collapse. To work until you have to stay home. To work until your body is just done. I can't do it anymore. And Jesus says, come unto me, all you who work until you collapse. Work until you collapse. These people are good enough people. Follow the rules. They're rule followers. They keep God happy. They have their life together, right? But this isn't like, oh, there's a nap that's needed. So anybody who just needs a little bit of rest for a recharge or whatever, let's recharge and we can move on together. There's weight to this. Those of you who are laboring, those of you whose your mind will not ever shut off. Those of you who replay every mistake mentally. Those of you who feel like it's never enough, right? And so I wonder, in my mind, I understand the situation. I understand the dynamics. I understand where he's at. I understand who Jesus is talking to. But I wonder, why does Jesus start here? Why does Jesus start here? So let's keep going. And as we go through verse 28, says, "And are heavy laden." And heavy laden, laden means a weight was placed on you by someone else. And it wasn't light. So not only is there labor, now you're heavy laden. A weight was placed on you by someone else. You didn't choose it. It was placed on you. It was given to you. And this is where I find the Pharisees enter the picture, because the Pharisees gave people a religious expectation. So this is what's interesting. Rule after rule after rule after rule. Pressure after pressure after pressure after pressure. Guilt upon guilt upon guilt upon guilt. And we find this later on in this book of Matthew. He writes in 23 and verse 3, he writes, "For they preach," so he's talking about the Pharisees, he says, "For they preach," you ain't going to find this being preached on too many Sundays in too many churches. "For they preach, but do not practice." So there's a hypocrisy. They say, do this, and they do that. Right? they say one thing. I remember I've had some experiences where I've known or have heard of or have seen with my own eyes where someone has said it's important in our walk with God that we abstain from a certain thing. And this was actually at the time it was a social media platform. And there was an expectation put there. And what's interesting is a week or so later, I'm in a discussion and it comes up that there was still people on this social media. And I thought, well, how do we know this? I said, well, I've been on. I said, see, preaching it but not practicing it. I had another experience where someone said it would be healthier if we, for our walk with God, if we abstain from indulging in football activities on Sunday. Yikes. And I remember thinking in my head, that's noble. And, some people have that conviction, and I'm supportive of it. But there was an expectation that was passed, and then I'm in another discussion later on, and it goes something like, I was over at a family member's house and watched that game, and man, it was so good. And I thought to myself, preaching, but not practicing, right? There's a word going forth, but it's not being practiced. And Jesus goes on here, and this is what he's walking through. This is what he's talking about. And he says, they tie up, in verse 4, they tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on people's shoulders. Yikes. And they themselves are not willing to move them with their finger. So I'm going to put the weight on you. And I ain't touching it. You gonna carry it. It's your responsibility to carry. But it sounds like it's your conviction. It's my conviction, but it's your responsibility to carry it. This is what the setting is saying. And he says, in verse 5, he says, they do all their deeds to be seen by others. Motive. Well, why are they doing this? This is where Jesus is talking to this crowd that's carrying this shame. And I printed this just for kicks today. This right here, and this seems like a smaller stack. This is printed front and back. And this is 613 laws in the Old Testament. And I'm just walking through these. This is what was required to ensure you were doing all the right things. I'm at 306. 387. 459. This is who Jesus is talking to. The Pharisees had put the pressure of make sure that we We have 613 of these. Make sure that we're following all 613. But here's the thing. They found ways to make loopholes, but not for the people. So shame is put on the people. Religious pressure is put on people. Fear of getting it wrong in the crowd's mind. This is where they're at. This is what Jesus is walking through. And here's the big question. Little plug for next week. Who put that weight there? Who put that weight there? And so, as we continue on in Matthew 11 and verse 29, he said, "Take my yoke upon you." And this sounds like counterintuitive by itself. Take my yoke. A yoke is something they put on the oxen's neck to keep it, making sure that it goes one direction, making sure that it's a wooden beam that's placed and it controls the oxen, and it don't sound like freedom to me. So Jesus says, take this yoke upon you. I'm thinking, if I'm in that sunburnt desert, following Jesus, wanting truth, I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm already carrying enough, Jesus. Like there's a lot here that I'm carrying, and then you want to control me more? But here's the thing. Jesus isn't coming at them saying, I want you to yoke with all the expectations that you've been given. When a farmer would yoke his oxen, he would generally take an older oxen, a more wise oxen, a more learned oxen, and he would put it together with a younger one that could be taught. And the older one would pull the weight, and the older one would show the way, and the younger one learns. The younger one follows. The younger one. So in verse 29, he said, learn from me. And this is where he's going. Learn from me. This is where the tone shifts. To learn is to be discipled. To learn is to follow discipleship. The discipleship of Jesus. It's prominent in churches to we need to make disciples, and we need to, and my question often is, make disciples of who? Because the one that we walk with should be Jesus. Learn from me, he says. Stay close to him. Walk with him. Watch how he lives, how he does life, how he walks through life. Then he reveals his heart. And if I'm not mistaken, this is verse 29, he says, for I am gentle and lowly in heart. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the one place in Scripture or in the Gospels that he shows his heart. This is my heart. His heart, not powerful, not impressive, gentle, lowly, accessible. So Jesus is saying here, listen, I'm not the voices that have been crushing you. That's what Jesus is saying. My yoke. Take my yoke. What? Why? Let's keep going. Verse 29, continue on. And you will find rest for your soul. And what I love about this is it's not rest for your schedule. It's not. Still got to get up in the morning and go to work. It's not rest for the weekend. It's rest for your soul. It's something deeper. It's more there's more substance. And the Greek word here means inner settling. Your soul, inner settling. Like when the chaos finally stops in your head, like when your nervous system finally. So how does adding a yoke create rest? Check this out in verse 30. Jesus says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Easy meaning it fits well. It's custom made. It's kind of like a tailored suit, right? Like you don't just go to the store and buy it and show up at the prom or at the event, at the ball. You get tailored to actually fit you really nice. You feel really good about how it's sitting on you. And this is what Jesus is saying. He said, well, my yoke is easy. He's not adding weight. What Jesus is doing is removing the wrong type of weight. When Jesus says, take my yoke upon you, what Jesus is saying here is, I would love to walk with you and be yoked to your exhaustion. I would love to be yoked to the pressure system, whatever's got you feeling weighed down. I would, and I know it sounds weird, but I'm gentle in heart. I can pull it for you, and I can give you the rest. You can yoke with me and know that you're not pulling the weight alone. I am. Because you were never meant to carry the weight of life by yourself. And a lot of times we walk through life and we feel exhausted from trying to control everything that's happening, whether it be our careers, whether it be our homes, whether it be our goals and dreams, and we're constantly trying to prove ourselves, or if not proving, we're trying to hold it all together and make sure nothing falls apart. And I've found a lot of times that it becomes a performance identity. It becomes a religious pressure and anxiety from over controlling. And this is where Jesus is standing flat-footed in this desert with a declaration that still reigns today. You don't have to carry that. And letting go of it feels terrifying, because if I let go, it's not going to feel as safe. But maybe the control is why we're anxious, right? Maybe the control is why we can't rest. Maybe the control is why the relationship feels heavy. Bree, give me that weighted vest over there. Give me that. Put this gentleman in this weighted vest. Go ahead, put him in there. Help him get fitted up. It's like one step at a time. We somehow don't realize the pressure that we carry. Let's get that fits a little better, don't it? Yeah, there you go. You want to? Just in case it don't. You're looking good. Looking fresh. You feel fresh? Mm. Okay, here we go. Walking through life. You ready? Walking through life. Here we go. We're walking through life, and it doesn't seem like much, but it's still a weight. And you're still carrying it. And then somewhere along the line, there's an expectation that's put on you again, and give me one of those. And all of a sudden, it feels like, can you carry that? Oh yeah, that's nothing, isn't it?
That's really something.
It's something, he says. It's something. But you end up carrying more weight. It's doable, right? You can do it. But it's kind of tiring, isn't it? And you haven't even been doing it that long. But that's how it is. Grab me that other one. And sometimes we think Jesus adds weight. Sometimes we think how's that one? Okay, I hear you now. Sometimes we think this is what Jesus does to us. Jesus is adding the weight. Jesus is he wants to make sure we get to heaven with him. So the weight is added. You feel like you're going to get off the ground with that? I'm not going to jump very high. Yeah, well, then why is that? Why are we trying to go higher and thinking Jesus is weighing us down with more? I got one more for you, bro. You got one more? one more. Just put put it in between there. You can get it. No, like put your hands up. Put your hands up. Just hold that. Put your hands up and then just put it right.
That's hard.
All right, here. You got this. Yeah, and this is how it is. We say, no, you got this. No, here you go. How are you going to carry this? You going to put it right here?
Sure.
Think you can carry that? All right, you got it?
Maybe.
All right, you got it? Yeah, okay. Well, let's walk. You got this. And this is what the religious leaders do. They say, you got it.
Nope.
And we don't. And sometimes we're carrying all this. Go ahead, you can set it up here. Sometimes we're carrying all this stuff. Will the table hold it? Yeah. High five, brother. You can keep that on if you want. Yeah. We're carrying all this weight. And it's not meant for us to carry. John chapter 1 and verse 38. Jesus turned and saw them following and said to them, "What are you seeking?" We said this in week 1. He's him. Jesus, he's him. What are you seeking? And they said unto him, "Rabbi," which means teacher, "where are you staying?" Look, people think all kinds of things. They thought they were looking for answers. Specific answers. Or purpose. Or direction. Or success. And the reality is, you're not looking for more options. What you're searching for is rest. Because it gets heavy after a while. Oh, sure, you can do it for a little bit. But after a while, it's heavy. It's heavy. You know why? Because the real rest is in Jesus. It's not in a technique. It's not in it's in Jesus. Because he's him. And you don't have to carry it anymore. Sometimes I wonder, will we let Jesus be to us who he wants to be? Will we just let him? Just let him in. He's with us. Will we let him in? And then Romans, Paul says something in Romans. He says, "Let us lay aside every weight and sin which does so easily beset us." And it's not that the law was bad. It's that the law you couldn't fulfill. It's too much. So what does Jesus do? He says, if you yoke with me, I'll carry the weight of the law. I'll carry the 613 commandments. I'll carry that. You just walk with me and you can learn what this is about, how this goes down, what this is. It's learning from him.